Okay, Rebecca, here we go. So you want to open that manuscript um, in your project folder. You've got the manuscript. You're going to open it up. Once you open it up, you're going to find, give me a minute, it's taking it a minute to open up. I don't know what tool you use to create text files. I'm hoping you have a tool for that. But so I just opened it up, and we've got table of contents, and this is the manuscript. So what I would do is I would I just clicked on acknowledgements. That's what we're working on. That is your next assignment. And so I hit shift and then shift and click, and it copies it to the clipboard. And then I hit command copy, and it copies it. Now I will go into my my text editing tool. Again, I don't know what you're using. I use several. Drafts is one of them. Ulysses is another one. So here's Ulysses. So this is a text editing tool that has lots of cool features. Again, I don't know what you're using, but I will copy the acknowledgements and copy those to my clipboard, and then create a document. Acknowledgements is the name of the document, and then you have to figure out how you're going to export it. I mean, you could go under this tool, export as a text, and that would export it as a text file. So there you go. That's a TXT file, so I want to change that to an MD file, and I'm going to save that in Rebecca's Dropbox. So when I hit export, I should be able to see it now right there in your Dropbox. So that's what I want you to do. Now, one of the things I want you to pay attention to is that when I open this document, you'll see that it's broken out into paragraphs. So it's going to take you a minute to go through and do that, create paragraphs, because let me show you what's going to happen when you're in the manuscript. If you just grab, let's say, the introduction, and the introduction has several sections. So one of the things you're going to have to do is go to the audio, and you'll see, by the way, that I've already copied these two folders. I just drug them into the correct place. So that's what you're going to want to do. So at the end of this acknowledgments, you're going to have the audio file and the MD file, the text file, in the same folder. So that's what I've done. I'm going to get rid of this one, move to trash. So you see now in that folder I have both of those. So let's work on let's do introduction. So to do introduction, what we have to do is go to the audio file, and you see introduction right here. It's a pretty long file, so we would have to open it and play it. Let's do that real quick. I think you'll be able to hear this. Make your money count audio file. So introduction. Let's hopefully you can hear this.
Introduction.
Quote.
98%
of us will die. So what you're going to want to do then is go all the way to the end of that file and listen to the very end of it.
Or clarify a sense of direction.
Clarify a purpose for our lives. A purpose for our lives. A purpose for our lives. That was the last thing he said. So when we go to the manuscript, we want to say a purpose for our lives. So we've got introduction. We start there, and we're looking for the section that ends with a purpose for our lives. And I could search for it. I'm going to do a search, a purpose for our lives. There we go. So that's where I want to end, a purpose for our lives. And this is introduction. It's the first like the first file you're going to create for introduction. So here I go. I just highlighted it. Now I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go right back over here, and I'm going to paste it. And this is where I'm going to need you to spend a minute and just make sure that you do a little formatting. So let's see, this is a markdown file. So you see it's all one big paragraph. That's no good. So you're just going to have to go through. The difference was startling. Two couples. Chris and Robin wanted it. There we go. So we're going to break that into a paragraph. But now wedding plans had to be made. And you don't have to be perfect, but think of it like a post. We want to break it out into paragraphs so that when someone reads it, the paragraphs make sense. So, you know, you can avoid, what are you thinking? Chris contacted me later. Chris felt ashamed. Chris and Robin. Chris borrowed enough. Painful lack of. My other clients. Phil. So you see the formatting is changing because that's just how it was set up. So let's see. Imagine what that did for Alicia. I talked to Phil. Phil's family. When Alicia. So see, I'm just basically going through, and now this looks like a very long paragraph, so I'm going to do that. And then a recent study. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just formatting it a little bit. So that's introduction. And again, I should make it all the same. So now let's see what happens when I export that. Again, you could file, export, however you want to do it. I have a little workflow set up here. So I'm going to do this. It's going to go introduction. So I export that, skip it, and now I'm go back to the file, and I know what I've got introduction. That's going to go into this folder. So I'll drag it up into that folder, and then I know that the audio files introduction, I will take that and copy it into the folder, and it will have the same title as this. So now I'm going to edit, paste it, and then I'm going to rename it so that it's the same. And it's introduction 01 because there are more than one files for the introduction. So let's look at the, so now we got to go and look at make your money count 02 and then do the same thing. But let's jump in. Well, first let me just open that file so you can see what it looks like. So we've got introduction. When I open that up, you see that looks very different than it would if we didn't format it. And so this is an issue right here. So, you know, I want to fix that. I want you to fix that. And so there we have it. So that's pretty close to being ready to be posted to WordPress or on the podcast. So I'm going to stop there and let you get caught up with what we're doing, and then I'll give you a minute to do the next one so that you'll have introduction. Now, again, this introduction, you're probably going to want to name the additional files introduction 02. So this is introduction. It could be introduction 01. You could, you know, dash 01. So let's do that. Introduction dash 01. And then we'll rename this one to the same thing. So just keep the names correct so that they, because you're going to have more than one file in introduction, and you're going to have more than one file in pretty much every chapter. Because remember, we got 135 files. That's what we have here. We have 135 audio files, so we need 135 And I think each one of these is basically a section of the book. So at the end of your project here, you're going to have 135 little text files with 135 little audio files that will go together in the same folder, named exactly the same, so that they're easy for you to take and create a podcast with. So that's going to be down the road. So hope that helps. I'll be here if you have questions. Talk to you in a minute.